Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John, coming to you today with some news of what's going on out in Chicago right now at the DNC convention that's going on right now with all the protests in the street. Both the pro-Palestinian people, Antifa, showed up and broke down fences and hurled things at policemen yesterday, as expected. No mention in the many speeches that took place up until last night at the end of everything. In and around midnight, they allowed Joe to give his goodbye speech before taking off to California. And he did mention that the people in the street may have a point. Anyway, no mention of any of the problems that took place under his administration. If you listen to him, everything is the most wonderful administration that ever existed, and no one has any problems under the Biden-Harris administration because everything was done just perfectly, and everything is Donald Trump's fault, which is basically what he had to say. The shame of it all, in my estimation, is how he's been treated. There is a man that is the sitting president of the United States, good, bad, or indifferent, no matter how you feel about him. He's a human being and should be given the accolades possible as for his position in this country. And what did they do? They put him on so late at night that half the people in this country went to bed. And that was done intentionally. And if you look at those phony balonies that are sitting in the audience holding up signs like Nancy Pelosi saying, "We love you, Joe," ha. Mm-hmm. But he did get to sniff Kamala's hair and basically got shoveled off to California on vacation. Like he needs another vacation. He's constantly home on the beach. But anyway, I guess he's entitled. So they're distancing themselves as far away from Joe Biden as they possibly can in an effort to repaint a picture of Kamala Harris that is just that. It's a repainted picture with no substance, no abilities, and no changes in attitude or latitude when it comes to her being a far left liberal. Worse than Bernie Sanders in liberalism.
Yeah.
But this is what they're having a party about, and I find it also interesting that for a regime of people in a party that does not believe in borders, they certainly have bordered themselves up and had plenty of law and order to go along with maintaining their wall against the people in the street that may have something to say to them that they don't want to hear. Why is walls good for them and their protection, but not good for anybody else in this country? The illegal migrants that are committing crimes, no mention by anybody last night about them. The victims of migrant crime, their names were never uttered from what all the speeches I heard. Hillary Clinton decided to go on overtime, to tout that if their mothers could see them now, oh boy. They want to condemn, and then their mothers would have told them to keep on going. I'm telling you, they need to all keep on going out whatever door they came in. There's no substance to this convention. They're trying to portray joy and overwhelming exuberance for each other. What about exuberance for getting our country back on track and helping the people that are suffering through an administration that had destroyed what was there? No matter what lies they want to tell you, it was better off under Trump prior to this administration, and then COVID hit. How COVID was handled is a toss-up here or there of who's responsible, but Joe's ultimately responsible for locking this country down, putting a lot of people out of work, and shoving mandates down our throat that ended up killing a great percentage of the population or sickening them through mandates. And I won't go into what the mandates were. We're all aware of what was done to us under the guise of COVID. And by the way, he still has 5 months. There's a government surplus of COVID money sitting there that I'm afraid is going to go to more handouts to illegals and to divisive wars that are going on around the country that are not good for us to be in or by any stretch of the means supporting, but we have supported it. Then he talks about how great his administration has done with the job of getting a ceasefire to happen, that his Secretary of State is over there working diligently on it. Well, he met with Netanyahu, yes, and Netanyahu has agreed to the terms of a potential ceasefire, and Hamas has said no.
Liars.
So now he's in Egypt trying to garner help to get Hamas to bend a little bit for this ceasefire. Ceasefires for Hamas are a good thing because they can gather back, resupply, rearm, and within several months be back right at where they are now. So I believe that this needs to come to an end, and it needs to come to a full end and a full stop. And these ceasefires that wink and blink and nod there are trying to garner are one-sided at best. And he's hanging his hat on that in his speech last night. He also tried to blame Trump for everything in his parting speech. And he's also tried to bring up the Charlotte thing, which has been debunked several times, and he full well knows it. So these talking points were more of he thinks maybe in the back of his mind when he does these speeches that he's still the candidate. Then you listen to, I think Fox had an interview with Buttigieg this morning that was quite amusing, if anything. He tried to talk over the gentleman that was interviewing him several times and evaded the truth of the answers that he gave. And, he thinks that everything in this country is just blazingly beautiful. These people are either masterful liars or they're completely devoid of any common sense at all. Your call. But it was an amusing deal to watch while the rioters outside were being basically ignored. They have put a wall around the whole United Center there where they're all gathering. but walls don't work anywhere else. They're trying to convince us that the border is under full control. We know differently. We're not stupid. We see these things happening. And don't tell me that crime is completely under control in Chicago, like Buttigieg said today. He remembers coming as a child and the crime was higher. There were 28 people shot last week in Chicago. You can't deny that. So don't tell us the crime's under control and the border is fixed, because the border is not fixed. And they're trying to convince the public that less people are coming across under the Biden administration than the Trump administration. This is an out-and-out lie, a bold-face, in-your-face lie, and we all know differently.
Fool me once, shame on me.
We all have seen it. We've all have heard it. We all watch the crime increase throughout these sanctuary cities where they're sent to. And now they don't even have to crash through the border. They can use an app and get flown into the city of their choice. This is a Biden administration deal, folks. This is Kamala Harris doing this. No matter what she says, she's changed her mind on. This all took place under her watch. And as much as she wants to distance herself from Joe Biden, she can no longer do that. Because Joe Biden stood there last night and said that it was he and her all the way. With regard to the pullout of Afghanistan, she's trying to say she had nothing to do with that now. But when she was interviewed, were you the last person in the room with the last word on this? And she said, yes, I was. And Joe says that she was part and parcel to that decision as well. So let's not gaslight the public any longer, DNC, because you can make it up. You can have Hollywood come in and do a production. You can parade past us all the actors, actresses, and singers that you would like to do, but that's how you garner your crowds. Plain and simple. She could not fill an auditorium unless she put some rapper or songstress or celebrity up there that people will come to see. Now the new lie going around on social media, some on YouTube, but mostly on X, is the Democratic bots that are showing you that people are leaving Trump rallies and that they're not filling the seats. This is an out-and-out lie, and it has been disproven, but they are bots that are putting these things out, and they're being paid for by the DNC because they found out that we caught on to, through some of the media, that her rallies weren't being very well attended. So this is how they're going to fight back. If you have half a brain and you have eyes to see, when you turn on the TV and they can't get away, if they carry the Trump debates or the Trump rallies, you're going to see a mile-long line of people trying to get in and a full house. Now, when these pictures were taken using AI, they were taken either as it was filling, when they just opened the doors, or after the rally was complete. Then they show the empty seats. But he's filling every seat in the House, and she is getting angry because she's wondering, where are my people?
You hearing this?
It's a shell game for sure. One that we have to keep our wits about us and decide for ourselves what is true and what is not, because mainstream media is in the bag 100% for reimagining Kamala Harris. They're in the bag 100% for pushing the Biden administration's mistakes as awards. They're doing this because their mainstream supply of cash is being put up by corporations that are backing the Harris campaign and have backed the Biden campaign. And I've told you this before, they are pharmaceutical, big pharma, and they are the military industrial complexes of Honeywell and so on and so on. These are their advertising dollars that they depend on, so they create new talking heads as the time goes by. And then, of course, you have the old stables such as Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow and some of the other clowns that they put out there to tell you mistruths, misleading information for the sake of appeasing their benefactors. And it's interesting because when they do get put out of an administration or retired out of an administration, such as Jen Psaki and people of that nature on both sides of the aisle, it doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat, they end up being newscasters later on, not journalists. We don't have journalists anymore. We have opinion spreaders, which take a item from the news, blow it up, and convince you it means something totally different than what it really means. These are actors that get made up in the morning and come out and tell you what you should be indoctrinated with. There is no reading of the news and letting you make an informed opinion on yourself by yourself. You have to be told by these idiots that are actors what to think, who to vote for, and so on.
Just the way it works.
Not good. This country is in a little bit of dire straits right now, and we need help to pull it back up to the light on the hill that we always have been for the rest of the world. So pray every day that we come to our senses and realize that we need to someone that will fix this. And in my estimation, it should be nowhere near or have anything to do with Kamala Harris. She's a fake. She showed us what she's capable of doing as Vice President of the United States, which was absolutely nothing. And whether or not she drinks too much or is one color or another color or where she came from or where she was educated, it doesn't matter. It's performance-based right now, and she does not have any performance to lay back on and prove to us that she can do what she claims she will do if elected on day one. She is sitting in the seat of power right now with the ability to have these things already in the works, but why do we have to wait for her to be elected on day one to do it? If you say you can, do it now. She does not want to do the things she's telling you she's going to do because she has no intention of doing it. No more than she did last year, or the year before, or the half year before that. We have 3.5 years of track record to go on with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden to look at and understand that this did not get accomplished then. It will not get accomplished tomorrow, and it certainly will not get any better, more likely get worse on day one of a Harris administration with a VP that is a total loon. It's not going to work. At least we know her opponent's track record. Does he say stupid things? Yes. Is he a mean tweeter? Yes. Does he have the ability to run a business in a country like a business and make it fiscally responsible one more time? Yes. Does she have any of these capabilities that she can go back and say, I've done this, I've accomplished this, and I've done this? No. There you are in a nutshell of what's going on, no matter what Joe Scarborough and Morning Joe can lie to you about. There's no accomplishments out of the Biden-Harris administration, and they will be even less accomplishments that are going to be beneficial to the citizenry of the United States out of a Harris administration. The lies are there on a daily basis. You can listen every day she speaks, and every day that Joe gets jacked up, like last night. I don't know what they put him on, but he comes out with Angry Joe and all the lies one more time that we know now have been discredited as lies, but they still allow this to happen. But then that's why they forced him out of the pocket. And yes, Pelosi said it all in a nutshell. I did what I had to do. And that was sticking the knife right in next to Obama's. And now go on vacation. You got 5 months of being president of the United States left, and you're going to go out to California with your fam and Hunter and move some money around. It's incredible. You could not make this up, what you're seeing now. Look at both of these conventions. Look at the Milwaukee convention. Nothing was walled off. Nothing had extra police brought in. Nothing happened with demonstrations. And then the DNC comes to Chicago. Need I say more? Turn on your TV and look at what they're running. Oh, it's a real love fest for some. But you have to be in their club to enjoy it. While the citizenry of Chicago is wondering, do I have to become a migrant to stay alive in this city? Listen to the people on the street that, especially the black communities that have been so devastated by all of the care money going to the illegals and bypassing the people of that city that deserve it. You can't make it up. It's there, it's happening, it's in your face. We see it. But yet we're told, don't look at that. That's not happening. look over here. We're having a joyful time in Chicago. Chicago's always been one of my favorite cities to go to and grab a meal and hang out for a while. Great place. For the longest time, I was there 2 and 3 times a year. Held court at the Chop House there. Gibson's Chop House. The biggest martinis that you could ever hope for. Wonderful place. I don't know if it still is. I haven't been there since COVID, so I don't know what's changed or what hasn't, but I know the murder rate has gone way up. I know that people are being accosted in the streets, much the same as they are in New York, and mostly by migrants that should not be in that city. That's cost the city of Chicago millions of dollars to take care of these illegals. And yet it will continue that way under a Harris administration, no matter what the mainstream media tells you, no matter what the Harris campaign tells you. They have a track record, and there is their track record. So we'll get another few days of all of this, and then the Kamala campaign is going to be calling in to the convention tonight or tomorrow. I don't know. It's going to be a Hollywood show, a sitcom that hopefully will be canceled in its first season. Then they're talking about impeachment proceedings against Biden. Is a little late for that. Whoever your committee members are, you drug your feet. Announcing it the day of their convention opening was a nice stunt, but why are you waiting till now? I kind of felt bad for Joe Biden. And then last night, now I don't feel bad for him at all anymore. Because he is the problem. And his vice president is part of that problem. And she's asking for a raise right now and a change in position that she should be denied of. I'm quite amazed that her party hasn't figured that out yet. The poll numbers, they're just going to be hanging their hat on the poll numbers, how far ahead she is. Well, they better not rely on that all too much, because we have 5 more months of her being on the campaign trail, having a party, and not doing her job, or not proving to us that she can do that job that she's asking for. And don't tell me you don't have the ability to do it and that Joe won't go along with it, because he hasn't gone along with anything that you guys have propped him up to look like he's gone along with. I don't think there's been an original thought there in the last 10 years. And I don't think Kamala Harris has had an original thought for that long as well. But anyway, the other guy needs to come to his senses and stop calling names and stick to the policies and the implementation of the policies, and when and how fast can that be done, and where is the benefit to middle America and the working population of America right now, and how will we close this border, and how will we get our economy back on track? This is what the 2 major problems and worries of the United States citizenry is right now. Not what you can call Tim or Kamala. God knows you couldn't write funnier things than both of them have accomplished on their own. We don't need to be told about the boys' bathroom incidents and stuff of that nature with him and DWIs and all that nonsense. That's out there. We know it. Does it make a hill of beans against what their accomplishments are as politicians? No. But I'll tell you this. During the riots, the George Floyd riots, they were both complicit in not prosecuting the people responsible. They were both complicit in pushing through getting them out on bail, no charges, and then you hear things out of their mouth like, we opened our windows because it was a glorious smell of rubber burning, as they burned down the businesses in Minneapolis and St. Paul for days. And that was perfectly all right with Tim. This guy Walls is a clown show in his own. Running around the stage, waving his arms around and patting himself like, oh, I'm so great. Coach. It's another lie. He was an assistant coach. Unbelievable what we get today to chew on for an entire week of Fantasyville and lies. Because I really do believe the Democratic Party lives in the same Fantasyville of all of the gender people and the climate change people and all of the radicals that run around this country with a voice and make you believe that you're wrong and they're right. But with that, that's enough for the Tuesday Kaiser Report. It's going to be a nice day here in East Tennessee. We have a little cool front that slipped through, so we're down in the low 70s, which is a break from the high 80s. And we're hoping that you all have good weather today and can get out. And if you're out to work today, do a great job. We need people like yourselves in the service industries and in the run-of-the-day mill production of important items. And don't forget to say a prayer for us here at the Kaiser Report, for your leaders, for this country, and for yourself and your family. God bless you all. We'll see you here back on the Kaiser Report tomorrow with some more fun news from Chicago, I'm sure. Because the speeches are not over. We've got Barack and Michelle today to look forward to. And that's always interesting because he's such a rock star. So that said, bye-bye now. Have a great rest of the Tuesday.